Hey there, my name is Christian. Welcome back to my channel. As always, feel free to connect with me on social media. You can follow me on my Instagram at The Christian Sphere. You can subscribe to my blog at christiansphere.com. And of course, don't forget to subscribe down below and hit that notification bell so you get an update whenever I upload a video. We are about 3 weeks into the new year. We are really out here making it, even though I will say, so far, 2021 has honestly just felt like 2020 with the dusty wig on, but hey, we're here, we're making it, and happy Inauguration Day. I and everyone that I know has just taken a collective sigh of relief. Speaking of cleaning things out of your house that don't bring you joy, I did a thing. I Marie Kondo'd my whole life, y'all. Depending on how you like to spend the first few weeks of a new year, some of you are getting right into your goals, others of you are still recovering from Christmas, and that's cool too. Well, I have been up to something for the past few weeks. I have been doing some dirty work, and I took the Konmari Method created by Marie Kondo, and I cleaned out our entire apartment. Now, for those of you who have never heard of Marie Kondo, she is a true tidying expert. She is also a New York Times bestseller, and she is also the creator of the Konmari Method. And in a nutshell, the Konmari Method is a tidying technique that focuses on keeping things that spark joy in your life and getting rid of the things that don't spark joy in your life. Typically, spring cleaning takes you from room to room in your house, and you go through and decide what you need and what you don't need. With the Konmari Method, however, you go category by category and you really look at each individual item and determine if it sparks joy for you or not. There are only 5 categories within the Konmari Method, but the categories cover your entire household. The categories are clothes, books, papers, kimono, which is comprised of 3 different subcategories: bathroom, kitchen, and miscellaneous, and then sentimental items. This is actually the second time that I've used the Konmari Method to tidy up my space. The first time was when Phage and I were still living in Tennessee, and we used it to cut down a lot of the fluff and a lot of the items that we just didn't need anymore as we prepared to move back to Texas. While completing the Konmari tidying method in Tennessee, I had so much stuff. I was honestly shocked at how much stuff I had to give away at the end of it, and it really just helped me to see how much stuff you can accumulate over the years without even realizing it. At the end of that first Konmari Method tidying, I probably took about 6 to 8 bags to Goodwill, and don't even get me started on the amount of books that I took to resale shops. I probably got rid of like 30 to 40 books. Some I had read, some I'd never read and was never going to read. And even with getting rid of all those books, I still took about 30 books with me to Texas. I had a lot of books. After using the Konmari Method this time around, I only had 2 bags, which is a major upgrade from the first time I did it. And it kind of goes to show that once you've completed this Konmari Method, there's something in the back of your mind that helps you to consolidate your items as you go. You don't collect a lot of junk over time, and you kind of keep your items a lot tidier than you did before. Now, as I said before, Marie Kondo is a best-selling author. She wrote the book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. But if you haven't read the book, that's fine, because she also has a Netflix series that I watched a few years ago right before I did the KonMari Method the first time. If you've watched the show before, then you know before she gets started in a home with her tidying process, she likes to express gratitude to the space. So that's just what I did with my own space. Right before I got started with the process, I sat down in my bedroom, which I felt was kind of the heart of the home, not necessarily the center physically, but a place in the house where I feel very connected, I feel very safe and calm and at peace. And so I sat in the middle of my bedroom floor and I expressed gratitude for the space. This isn't something that I do often, but it is something that I think about all the time. I'm extremely blessed that Phage and I are in Houston, that we're here together in a beautiful apartment and that we're able to share this space and that it keeps us safe. So as I was giving thanks to the space, that's pretty much what I said in my mind. When you take on this task and do the entire KonMari process yourself in your home and you get ready to give thanks, it really sets your mind up to be able to give thanks and cultivate joy all throughout the process. And a process it definitely is. Marie Kondo actually suggests that you complete all the categories within one day, which is a major challenge, especially depending on the size of your home. So let's talk about the first category of clothing. I have a love-hate relationship with the clothing category. Even though this is the first category that Marie Kondo has us go through, it's easily one of the hardest. When you go through the clothing category, you are required to take every article of clothing that you own and put it into one pile. Thank the Lord for our king bed, because I just know all of our stuff would not have been able to fit on a queen. There's no way. And when I say every article of clothing, I mean everything. If you have clothes in your closet, take it out. If you have accessories like hats and scarves, take out your shoes, empty all of your drawers, your socks, your bras, your underwear, your pajamas. Everything imaginable needs to go into one big pile. Once every article of clothing that I owned was on my bed, I was able to see that I actually do have a lot of stuff to wear, despite my frequent claims that I never have anything. As far as getting started, once all of your clothing is in one big pile on the bed, there's no easy way, there's no trick to it. You just have to start with one article of clothing at a time. You pick an article of clothing, you look at it, examine it, determine, does this really spark joy in my life? Do I feel good when I wear this? Does it have any holes in it? Pretty much right away after picking up an item, you'll know if it sparks joy in you or if it doesn't. I know that for most of my clothing, I knew how I felt about it right away. If you find that it brings you joy, that is awesome, then absolutely keep it. If you find that it doesn't necessarily spark as much joy as you thought, it might be good to put it in the no thank you pile. And one thing that Marie Kondo suggests as we get ready to say goodbye to an article of clothing or shoes or hats, accessories, anything, is that we express gratitude towards that item for the joy that it once did bring to our lives. And what that may sound like is, thank you so much for letting me wear you. I had a great time on vacation with you. I looked and felt beautiful, but now I am letting you go. Is it lengthy? Yes, it is a lengthy process, but the way you go about getting rid of items that once meant something to you keeps you in a space of giving thanks throughout the entire time. Now, I repeated this lengthy process for an hour and 15 minutes, which really is not that long when you think about it in the span of a full day. I know the first time that I completed the KonMari Method, it took me multiple days to get through all of my clothes, all of my shoes, accessories, socks, underwear, everything that you can imagine. This time, I didn't have nearly as many things that didn't spark joy in my life, so it didn't take that long. At the end, I had 2 bags of clothing and shoes and accessories that I can take to Goodwill, which I'm very excited about. And my closet and drawers were visibly less cluttered than before. It looked better and felt better to me. And the end result of going through all of your clothes is that no matter what you pull out of your closet, you now know that it's something that's gonna fit you well, something that's not damaged, and something that ultimately brings you joy. Now for the books category. First, let me say this. I need you to know that I love my books like a person would love their own child. And I'll be honest, I do not like lending my books out, y'all. For certain people, I will absolutely do it. Does it hurt? Yes, a little bit. But for certain people, I will lend my books out. Just know I love my books. When I was doing the KonMari Method around my books this time, I did not get rid of a single book. Let me tell you why. And I have to refer back to Tennessee again, because when I was completing the KonMari Method there, I realized that I probably had about 80 books. What I realized when I was going through those books in Tennessee was that I hadn't read even half of them, and there were some that deep down I knew I was never going to read. I just liked having them on my shelf. So I got rid of a little more than half. Coming back to Texas, aside from my collectibles and my coffee table books, I have about 30 books in total. And that encouraged me to make a promise to myself that I would not buy a single book until I had read every book that was already in my collection. So since then, I've kept that promise. I have been gifted 2 or 3 books, but I haven't bought one for myself. I have kept my promise, and I'm about 2 books away from having completely read all 30 books that are in my collection. So now I really can say that every book I own brings me joy. The next category in the Konmari Method is papers. After completing the Konmari Method in Tennessee, I felt like I had a boatload of papers to go through. It was insane. I had old receipts, I had manuals for things that I know perfectly well how to use. I had old notebooks that I wasn't even writing in anymore. You name it, I had it. After seeing just how much paper I was accumulating over time, I decided that I was going to throw away papers the moment I knew I didn't need them anymore. This time, I didn't have nearly as much paper to deal with, and based off of my first process, I kind of moved to using a more electronic approach and staying away from using paper. The papers that I do have, I really think about if I need them, if I'll need them in the future, and I store them in an accordion folder. So if they're important, if they're papers that I absolutely need, I have a special place to store them. When it comes to paper, even though I keep mentioning getting rid of things based on needing it or not needing it, there's still an aspect of joy there for me. I do not spark joy in my life when there's unnecessary clutter. So when it comes to papers, if I have only things that I need and I don't have any unnecessary paper clutter lying around, then that itself sparks joy in my life. Now for the next category, which is kimono. Kimono is made up of 3 different parts, which is bathroom, kitchen, and electronics. Kimono really wasn't so bad because I had help along the way. My bonus baby was in town, home for the holidays, and she really wanted to help me clean the pantry. And if she wasn't so helpful on the regular, I would honestly think that she just wanted to get a good look at what snacks we had, but I wonder. I try my best to keep my kitchen free of clutter and unnecessary items, but that pantry though, it really tends to stack up. For one, there is a very limited amount of space in our pantry. This is just an apartment. We don't have a fancy walk-in pantry yet. And in addition to having limited space, I also don't have a system that I use to organize what's in there. There are no baskets to separate items, so things can get very cluttered very quickly. Anaya and I took everything out of the pantry, we set it on the counter, and we went through each individual item, and the entire process, not counting our few dance breaks that we had, took about 40 minutes. During that time, we also went through each individual kitchen drawer and kitchen cabinet. We also included the fridge in that cleanup, and it felt and looked better almost right away. I have to say again, going through this process the first time in Tennessee really helped us to cut down on all of those cups that you collect over the years, Tupperware dishes that are old, broken dishes. We didn't have nearly as much to get rid of this time because we already did it a few years ago. Now, kimono also calls for us to go through our bathroom items, but I'll tell you right now, I did not film going through there because everything under there is necessary and it sparks joy in my life. I don't like clutter to begin with, especially in a tight space. I don't have much space for storage in the bathroom, so I make sure that everything I have has a particular place, a particular use in my life, and that cuts down on a lot of clutter already. I don't really keep a ton of makeup or hair products, and the things that I do use, I use till the very last drop. So I didn't really have to go through my bathroom too much. And the final category of the Konmari Method is sentimental items. Now, I didn't have a hard time with this either. I didn't actually film going through these items because there was really no need. The only sentimental items that I do have are my Letterman jacket and old dance clothing from high school. That is stored in the back of my closet. I have a memory box that holds cards and love notes between Paige and I over the years that I have a specific place for, and all of my dolls and childhood items are packed neatly away. I think one day when we get a house, I'll probably find time to go through my more sentimental childhood items and unpack them and probably find a place for them. But until then, there was no need to go through them because I don't have to throw anything away. You may find as you're going through this process that you have a lot of sentimental items to go through. My best advice to you would be to go through each item, really take your time and show yourself some grace. That's the one thing that I really love about the Konmari Method and this entire process is that it's never about how much you can get rid of. It's always about what sparks joy in your life. That's what matters the most. So if every sentimental item that you have sparks joy for you, great, absolutely keep it. But if you find that it doesn't, that's fine too. Express gratitude towards it and let it go. At this point, it's been about a week or two since I've completed the Konmari Method in our home, and it definitely feels less cluttered. I did go through Anaya's room as well to organize her toys and to clean out her closet. I take really great care of her room while she's away. Because I try really hard to maintain her room and keep it nice from week to week, there wasn't a lot to toss out at all. And I swear, when I was a kid, I do not remember having this many teeny tiny toys. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure I had like Barbie clothes and shoes and Barbie heads probably laying around, but these LOL dolls, they're a different kind of beast, I'm telling you. They're so teeny tiny. Overall, this was such a great experience to go through again. I loved being able to start the year with sparking joy in my life. I'm really excited to see how I'm going to maintain this throughout the entire year, and I won't do this again until 2022, so there's no telling if I'll be able to maintain this or not. We're gonna see if I keep sparking joy all year long. I'm so excited to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments if you have used the Konmari Method in your own home. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time.